Hey guys, you're watching The Morning Score, your top of day fix for professional and for college sports and for gaming. I'm your host, Erica, and from my right to my left are hosts Meghan, Stef Z,
Whoop.
and Trevor. So,
The double whoop.
we are at your favorite place our favorite place in the entire world, Rivalry Sports Bar and Grill from the heart of Miracle Mile in Los Angeles, California. Now, for all your sporting events, for your happy hours, if you just want to grab some lunch, you have to check out Rivalry Sports Bar. Comfy seats, awesome drinks, awesome food, lots of televisions. You have to come here if you're a local or if you're visiting. Super Bowl 49 is how we're kicking off our episode.
Congratulations,
Did I call it or did I
Meghan.
call it from like 3 weeks ago?
You only
Whatever
called
we
it
first-
because it was your team.
But my team is the best team.
Her team is the best team. Now, we were all crossing our fingers that this year's Super Bowl would be better than last year's Super Bowl. And so be careful what you wish for, because it was a game to end all games.
It was a game.
Awesome.
The one thing that everyone is talking about, of course, is the goal line interception. Why, what went wrong? Or
I was crying out of sadness and then quickly just was crying out of just pure joy. I've never been happier in my whole life. It was amazing.
I think every Patriot was doing that as well.
It was over. It was literally over. 26 seconds left. It was over. And then Malcolm Butler, the guy that no one knew about, comes out of nowhere with the most amazing interception that we have ever seen in football history.
Well, and that's, and I'm going to go with you on that. And it hurt me because, I didn't like either of these teams, but everybody's like, why did they pass? Why did they pass? Why not run beast mode? I get that. I mean, beast mode. Also, Patriots, I believe, had maybe one timeout left, so keep that clock going and end it. But at the same time, this kid makes a sick play. He didn't just knock the ball down.
Yeah.
He freaking intercepted it on a quick slant. I mean, it was just incredible. And, Pete Carroll, he's going to be the dog for this whole thing, and this whole conspiracy now that he did it because he doesn't like Lynch and he wanted Russell Wilson. It's like, people are always going to come up with these
They
conspiracies.
like the point fingers. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
this dude made a sick play, and that's all there is to it.
Right.
Right, and I agree with you. He did make a sick play, and they are taking away from him. He knew the play enough to back off so they couldn't see him coming.
Yeah.
I give you this to ponder though. If the situation was turned around and Tom Brady was making that same slant pass to some eligible, ineligible receiver that Bill Belichick does on the last minute, and Richard Sherman would have made that same interception, they wouldn't be challenging Tom Brady's decision as much. They wouldn't be challenging Bill Belichick's decision as much because Richard Sherman is a hero. He's a huge name. They just give him holy crap, he's that good. But because Malcolm Butler is this no-name guy who's working at Popeyes a few years ago, you know what I mean? They're just oh my God, what did the other team do wrong? Taking away from the fact that it's not what they did wrong, it's what this kid did right.
Well, see, speaking of what the other team did wrong, other than throwing a completed pass to the wrong team, 20 seconds before you win the Super Bowl, why did you just not hand it off to beast mode? He has been the forefront, the cornerstone of your identity, Seahawks, for the past 3 years. Why not hand it off to the player who can easily get into the end zone? Now, a lot of people are saying because in red zone situations this year, he for 5 carries only got into the end zone once from the 1 yard line.
1 and 5.
Right.
Yeah.
So I understand that logic, but sometimes you have to go against logic, especially when you're 20 seconds away from two-peating, and just do what makes the most obvious sense to me.
Right.
See, I honestly and it's not just because I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I always like to look at everything. I think that Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson were so not cocky, but super confident
I agree.
that they would make that play. Because you know what? Not for nothing, 100 times they throw that pass. This might be the one time it's been intercepted. And yes, I do believe that. Not that Pete Carroll in that moment was, okay, let me think about all this stuff, but it just came naturally to him to make Russell Wilson the hero. rather than Marshawn Lynch, who hasn't been talking to the media all season. Like, how would that look for the Seahawks? And they're both up for new contracts. So Russell Wilson is probably going to be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. Give him the ball to win the Super Bowl for the two-peat, rather than Marshawn Lynch, who knows if they're going to renew his contract and figure it out with the Seahawks.
Like,
there's so much subconsciously in Pete Carroll that makes him make those decisions. Do I think he was sitting there with 20 seconds left being like, well, there's contracts on the table, let me give it to Russell Wilson? No, I'm not saying that. But he is trained that Wilson's the hero.
And I think his job is to outsmart the other coach, which is Bill Belichick. And I think, okay, Belichick's thinking we're going to run the ball. So, you know what, we're going to throw them for a loop, we're going to pass it. And if I were in his position too, I would have just wanted to end the damn game because it was just so stressful and like go out with a bang. And obviously it did, but not in his favor.
But also that leads me, I don't understand, and I'm always a proponent of this play that I think never gets used, and when it does get used, it works, is a bootleg, Pete Carroll. You have Russell Wilson.
Why not do the bootleg?
Everybody thinks they're going to slam beast mode. They actually had 5 linemen up there ready to go.
Right.
At least fake it.
A fake,
You know what, Pete Carroll, oh my God, I just thought about this. Pete Carroll did this same type of crap
in the Texas
USC game.
That was devastating.
He didn't even have Reggie Bush on the field.
But you know what? Let's blame that misstep on Lane Kiffin. Because I mean, like, he was a part of his coaching staff. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I just don't want to put the onus on Pete Carroll because I like him so much. He's such a California cool, confident guy. His players seem to have always liked him. And a lot of people are saying, well, even if the offensive coordinator made that play call, why did Pete Carroll not override him at that time? And the conspiracy theorists, like you said, talk about not wanting Marshawn Lynch to be on the dais at the end of the game, accepting the MVP award.
He was just trying to save Marshawn from another crotch fight.
That's exactly
crotch grab fight.
In the same sense, too, though, Russell Wilson, I don't know if he got out-coached or outplayed.
Outsmarted, for sure.
Like, Butler outplayed that play. Because whole game, Bill Belichick got in. I mean, there was a huge deficit. They came back. So I don't know if Pete Carroll got out-coached, but I feel like they got outplayed. But it was also Russell Wilson could have made that play call too. He could have seen the line and been like, you know what, this is set up for this. I'm just going to go around. He's got legs. He's got the agility.
But bottom line is you can't blame an entire game on just 26 seconds when you have 60 minutes to play.
And it's like, look at us all. We're so designed to pick apart what went wrong rather than Butler again, who's been, Tom Brady says he's been doing it to me all season. Finally, he did it to someone else. Like this guy, he went to a community college. He didn't Western Alabama, and not like Alabama, like Western Alabama Community College. This guy, he got a chance. He practiced. Like, this guy worked his tail off, literally.
He did,
and he was like, I don't know why they put me in the game, but they did, so I need to do my job. And he did, and overnight, he's a hero. Overnight, Malcolm Butler is a household
He wasn't
name.
even on the field. They ended up switching him in because they noticed that in the Bill Belichick noticed in the Seattle Seahawks huddle that they had wide receivers, and then they switched out Akeem Ayers, am I saying that correctly? And added
because they saw he wasn't making the plays.
Exactly.
Well, and also let's say beast mode scores on the very next play. There's 20 seconds left. Patriots have a timeout. You have Tom Brady. You have all his weapons. You have Gostkowski, who's a great field goal kicker. We never know what would have happened.
Right.
I mean, it happened the way it happened. Butler 2-9.
Let's talk about Butler. By the way, Tom Brady is reportedly giving Butler his MVP red truck. Of course, I mean, does he have a choice? I mean, and I'm not taking anything away from Tom Brady because he did bring his team back in the fourth quarter. However, Malcolm Butler, an unsung hero who now we're obviously singing his praises, like you said, went to Hines Community College, then went to West Alabama, worked at Popeyes in 2010, and now he is the topic of the conversation. But this goes a lot to show to how smart Bill Belichick is. He always takes these unknown diamonds in the rough and turns them into these superstar players. I mean, even Tom Brady, 6th-round draft pick. I think that Bill Belichick is not only very smart on the field, but he knows how to coach, he knows how to teach, and he knows how to mentor, and that's what I think is making a huge difference.
Right.
And that's why Jets fan, Dolphins fan hate Bill Belichick.
See, I hate him when we play him, but like I can appreciate that he's a good coach.
Well, you appreciate, it's like me in baseball. I can't stand Derek Jeter, but I respect Derek Jeter. I mean, what he did, and Bill Belichick, what he does. and has done and will continue to do is amazing, arguably with the greatest coach of all time.
Right.
But as a Dolphins fan, it just
It kind of irks me too, and to see Darrelle Revis out there getting a ring with the Patriots, it's kind of just like, man. Now they're talking about he might like be coming back to the Jets, and I'm just like, man, let's just go play with the other team and get a ring, and then I'll come back to you losers and show you how it's done.
Kind of like LeBron, right? Well,
it is.
Speaking of champions like LeBron, let's talk about Tom Brady getting his fourth ring, his third MVP. Does this now cement Tom Brady as the greatest of all time? Meghan, I wasn't even talking to the Patriots fan on the panel. Everyone else.
I say no.
Reasonably.
I say no, and this is why. Is he top 3? Absolutely. But my argument about this is that, yes, Tom Brady is amazing. Yes, he's broke all kinds of records at this Super Bowl. But you got to think about the time now. You got to think about technology. The man's got a Facebook page. He's got fans across the board. It's just a different time. If Joe Montana was playing in the league right now, would he be more of a fan favorite? Would he be a better quarterback with everything available right now? I still tend to think yes.
See, I actually think I think Brady is disliked more so
I agree.
because of technology. And Joe Montana is a friendly guy. Like, everybody loves. Joe Montana beat my team the only time I've been alive when my team was in the Super Bowl. Joe Montana, you mother effer, beat him, beat my team. But here's Joe Montana played 16 years. Tom Brady is going into his 16th year.
Yeah.
Tom Brady still, in my opinion, has 2 to 3, maybe
I
even
agree with
4
you.
more years.
Yeah.
Also, Brady has never had the weapons that Joe Montana had. And I'm not taking anything away from Joe Montana because that guy, 4-0 in Super Bowls, 3 Super Bowl MVPs, the guy was legit, never threw an interception in a Super Bowl. But Tom Brady, he's been to 6. He only loses to the Giants, apparently.
Yeah.
That's his nemesis.
New York, we'll take it.
And he's already winning.
right.
He's already crushed Montana's stats in touchdowns from everything. And he's got a couple more.
He's
In
taken
career
them.
stats.
Right.
Well,
Right.
I have a heart for old school throwback, anything vintage. And when you look back on football in the 80s and the 90s, there weren't these rules that basically coddled the offense. Like, now you can't even touch a quarterback. There used to be a time where you
Because
could
of Tom Brady.
bump and run at the line of scrimmage. Like, there's so many rules and allowances that have been made to protect the offense. Now, granted, the NFL is such a smart business that these rules have been put in place to accelerate the offense, to make it more exciting for the fans and for the consumers. I'm not faulting the NFL for that, but when you take all of that into consideration and think about how quarterbacks are really, really babied in a sense compared to Joe Montana's time.
But
like, there's so many variables. Now, do I think that Tom Brady will have another 3 or 4 years in the tank? Yeah. Do I think he'll get to another Super Bowl? Probably. And if not to another Super Bowl, probably to another AFC championship. But he has some more years in his tank. By the time it's all said and done, I think he will probably be considered the greatest, but you always have to consider the variables of how offenses and quarterbacks are really babied.
I'll give you that. I feel like when you look at, there's pictures of Tom Brady with all Super Bowl champion, like standing there every time he won the Super Bowl. He looks the best right now. He
he's
looks
so
in
hot.
the best shape.
Just kidding.
Oh my God.
He is, but I know.
I don't mean like that. I mean, like, he looks like he's in the best shape that he's been in out of all 4. So I tend to agree with you. Right now, at the current moment, I don't know if I'd give him best of all time. I'd definitely give him top 3.
Okay.
Well,
But
we
I don't
haven't
know,
even.
but he's got 2. Like, I believe you. Like, he's gonna play at least till he's 40.
I think
All
so.
this aside, we can't forget about the immense pressure he had going into this Super Bowl with Deflategate and all of that. But he still, 37 out of the 50 passes, like, he was still on his game, and that's a quality of a great player right there as well. Going in with so much pressure and then coming out on top as well.
Right, but they all had to do that.
They all did, but it's Tom Brady.
I'll just say this. We could debate this
For years.
Yeah.
and years. What I like to think is I just like to appreciate the fact that, now I'm going to age myself here, that I've been alive to be able to see the 2 quarterbacks in their primes that we talk about and argue as the 2 greatest quarterbacks. As much as I dislike Brady because he's a Patriot, it's pretty cool as a fan
Yeah.
to be able to watch him and earlier watch Joe Montana.
That's true.
I mean, you just have to stop and think about that every once in a while before Brady does retire in 2 to 3, 4 years.
Yeah, you know what else is really cool? I don't know if you guys saw, but I saw Tom Brady on his Facebook page. He actually posted up a picture of him when I think he was like maybe 8 or 9 in a Joe Montana outfit
Oh,
on
wow.
Halloween.
Oh, that's cool.
And he says, I've been getting ready for Sunday since 1989 or whatever year it was. It's probably not the right year. But like, so I think that's super cool. And the
That
one
is
thing
cute.
I also have to say is when I have to give credit to Tom Brady because in all these post-game interviews, when he was asked about being in the same, sentence with all these great quarterbacks, he's kind of really humble about it, and
That's
I really
awesome.
like
Yeah,
that.
he
He
is.
was just like, I can't even comprehend that conversation.
Well, you watch him on the sidelines.
but
He's just a big kid. You
Yeah.
know, we talk about it all the time. He's jumping up and down. Like, he's not this big macho guy. He's like, oh my gosh, we just
Yeah.
scored, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I definitely.
And he wears Uggs, and so any man that wears Uggs is clearly not a macho guy. So,
He got
Okay, Joe
paid.
Montana's the greatest quarterback of all time. Joe Montana would not be caught dead with
Argument
Uggs.
done.
all right, guys, stick around for our next segment. We are going to be talking about some of the favorite parts of the Super Bowl that don't have to do with what happened on the field, halftime show, and all the great commercials. TheMorningscore.com.